much for coming today. We really appreciate that. And we're so happy to be showing this here in Vermont. This is a love letter to Charlie and to Vermont.
Yes.
And I really want to dedicate this screening to my parents who are here from Montreal. My mom, Marion, was my caregiving inspiration. Mom, you always cared for everyone. And Dad, you are taking great care of Mom. So thank you. And Charlie wanted to say something too.
Oh, none of this if I didn't have my beautiful love.
Thank you. Thank you.
I didn't say it. I'm sorry.
You said it. You said it. You're devoting it to me. And also, we always say that we make the movie to show that we're living with Alzheimer's. Thank you. Thank you. Hi. We're okay, everyone.
Well, we can all breathe a little bit after that. Just let it sink in. I'm Nina Keck. This is Charlie Hess. Heidi Levitt's joining me up here. We've got Deb Chisholm, who is a caregiver partner and an empowerment coach, and Meg Polyte with the Vermont chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. I think another round of applause. I think that movie was beautiful. So I wanted to ask, first and foremost, I've met a lot of people working at Vermont Public covering aging. I lost my mother-in-law from Alzheimer's last month. She had cared for my father-in-law, and there's a period of denial, I think, often that people go through. You both talked about it in the film. How did you get through that period and decide, what were the conversations like about, let's make this a movie to help others in this situation?
You'd be better on this one, I think.
So basically, we didn't have that much denial, honestly. I think that was the first 4 months was like, what? And how is this happening? And Charlie called himself out because I was investigating stuff for my mom. And he said, maybe I need to go see Gary Small because I'm feeling foggy. That was geriatric psychiatrist we were working with at UCLA where Charlie was working. And I just felt what happened for us was you saw it, which is unusual, that you called yourself out. You talk about it in the movie. You started making mistakes, right?
Yeah.
You didn't think that's what it was, but that's what happened. You started making mistakes in your work.
Yeah, and it never before it was.
Right.
I did it was easy until it isn't. Yeah.
But what happened was I realized that he couldn't get a job again. And I think you were in denial for a while that you were going to get a job. And I knew that you couldn't get a job. And I felt like, okay, this is going to become our job. And I convinced my family that we're going to get paid to make it. That was. So Alex Gibney, who is my executive producer, is a very well-known documentarian, and he does a lot of hard-hitting movies. He's doing one right now on Elon Musk. He did one about Scientology. He did a movie called Enron, the Smartest Guys in the Room. He's really like a political power force. And he and I are working on a narrative project called Exiles on Main Street, which is a dream project of mine and my executive producer who's here, Joe Berga, which is about immigration in America. Basically, so what happened was I went to Alex and I said, is this a movie? Could this be a movie? And he said, yes. And I went to New York to pitch it to HBO and all these places, and COVID hit. So that was the end of that. And then I realized, okay, this movie is happening because it's about, I knew I wanted to show progression. And when we get to watch the movie now, we understand that, right? And I wanted to have this go over time because I had never seen it over time. And anyway, so that's how it was. And I convinced my family that, and somehow I started applying for grants, and it was difficult, but we did it. We filmed 4 years, and we spent more and more time in Vermont, which was really a gift.
Yes.
I think Helena Chu, his neurologist, says that Vermont is the best medicine.
One more question on the process. Is there's one scene towards the end that shows you watching film footage of you and Charlie walking on the beach. And that's kind of towards the end of the movie, and I'm sure you pored over all of the images as you shot them, figuring out how to put this jigsaw puzzle of a movie together, what the arc of the story was. What surprised you as the filmmaker at the end of this project that maybe you didn't even see coming as the storyteller?
Well, I think it's part of the reason that we're doing this panel on caregiving is that what surprised me is that I was a caregiver. I didn't see myself that way. I was a filmmaker. And in showing the movie, more people have come up to us a lot to talk about that. And that's something I'm owning more now and really want to advocate for people about. As a filmmaker, for me, it was understanding that I had a narrative and a skill set that I always knew as a casting director, because I'm always with actors and great directors. I've worked with wonderful people, and I had a sense of making a film, but I also feel like a bit like I discovered my voice because I was always behind the camera and behind someone else's vision. So that scene of me watching us, that's Lake Elmore, walking on Lake Elmore, it was more like I think about I saw the arc that I made it this time. I'm not just putting the actor in the movie.
I want to switch gears and talk about the caregiving element. There was a line in the film where you talk about, I can't fix this, and coming to peace with that. And I can only imagine for many of you in the room, if you're going through this or know somebody who is, that getting over that fix-it piece. Deb Chisholm, let me ask you that. How does that, maybe letting go of that element, help a caregiver?
Well, it's interesting because at no point yet have I had that thought that I want to fix this. I tend to have a very short rope when there's a problem. I get to the end of it and say, all right, what are we going to do about this? What am I going to do? What do I want to learn? How do we best live in the present to make the future as good as it possibly can be through this? So I haven't wanted to fix it at this point. I really challenge myself as a care partner to make each day the best it can be. And I want to point out in particular in our relationship, because that was the biggest challenge I hit first, was how I was behaving differently in our relationship. And I didn't want to behave that way. I'm talking about those frustrating moments. And so that's where we, boy, the entanglement it is, suddenly there's not as much of my life, there's much of our life. And that became a real focus. And I had the good fortune of, through my professional work, running into a program for mental fitness that has helped me in the moment incredibly.
Yes, I can only hold one.
I have two hands.
So you've talked in interviews about how you wanted to use this film to not have Alzheimer's be a statistic, but an individual person. And Charlie, I feel like I got to know you so well in that film. And the other woman was she from Atlanta?
Yeah, Macon, Georgia.
Macon, Georgia, sorry, yes. But I'm wondering, and maybe this is a question for you, Meg, as the policy director for the state's Alzheimer's chapter. How important is that for us, considering how many are dealing with this disease, to realize, I guess, the human cost, the reality that these are all individuals, and it's not just the person who's dealing with the illness, but it's their spouse, their partner, their families, their kids.
Yeah, it's a great question. And first, just thank you, Heidi, Charlie, your parents, your kids. My gosh. What really struck me from the movie was exactly that. Like, we saw just two human beings. And I think
And a love story.
And a love story to Vermont and to each other. But one thing I really appreciated was the balance of the diagnosis on the individual with the diagnosis on the care partner. And I think that's one thing that I've really seen develop and change in terms of dementia conversations and research over just the last less than 5 years that I've been involved in this, is the real acknowledgement of the care partner and the harsh statistic, right, that got laid on you there. Did you know?
No.
Right, and I had never heard that statistic. I knew there's terrible health effects, mental, physical, financial impacts on the care partner, but the death statistic I hadn't heard. And in this story, you really showed sort of the metamorphosis, the evolution of the care partner on the journey, which we all know and we all talk about, but it's so hard to really grasp that, knowing that every person's an individual, every person with dementia is individual, every care partner comes in with different skills, but somehow you showed that in a way that was just so vulnerable and so honest, that I think that that's going to make a huge difference. And I love that this opens the door for us to say to care partners, and for every care partner that watches this or will be a care partner, right? Because you might not be one now, but it might be knocking on your door in the future. Just that it's okay. It's okay to be vulnerable yourself and to change your role yourself and to fill the space. You know, when you said like I'm his cue card or something like that, like all those pieces are okay, and also it's okay to not be okay, and you showed that as well. And so I just think that there's so much that will come out of this, and that's a bulk of our work with the Alzheimer's Association, is not just around people with dementia and saying it's okay and saying you're not alone and saying we have resources, but caregivers, you're not alone. There's lots of you too, and we have resources for you too, because it's only as a team that you can actually live well with this devastating diagnosis, and you're just examples of that I'm just so grateful. Thank you.
And I was just thinking, we'll do a big round of applause. But no, I was just thinking about how, especially Charlie, hearing from you in the film and both of you interacting, the lack of fear. I think as you were putting the apple pie in the oven, that scene, you could hear, are you scared? And Charlie, you said, not as much as I thought. And I think the openness, the honesty, watching your kids grapple with it around the dinner table, it's so helpful to see that, yeah, we can talk about Alzheimer's, we can talk about the stressors. I don't know about you, that made me feel a lot better because it's rampant in my family. So I know someone close to me will have it again. Do we have time for one audience question? Are we running? Yeah? Is there anybody that would like to ask a question? Yes, let me come to you.
I have a loud voice, so I might not need.
All right, well, we'll give you the microphone. It's always nice.
So first of all, the courage that everyone had and showed in that film was amazing. My question is for Heidi. What do you think was the one best thing that you were able to do for yourself to recharge day after day? I loved the water and the out of doors in Vermont, and the fact when I saw you swimming that really warmed my heart. But I'm just curious how you recharged.
I think the recharge for me was this desire to get this done and to tell this story more than anything. Like I'm so I'm tenacious, right? I say it in the movie. Yes, nature, and that's Lake Willoughby, which I love, and absolutely, like, just walking in Vermont to me it is looking at those mountains, looking at Lake Champlain. That's for me a real recharge. People say, "Oh, you need more time for yourself. Go get a massage." I'm like, I don't have the time. Like, it's annoying. I do now realize that I need help, right? I need care partners. My parents are here with 2 care partners because it's hard. And this is real work. We need to acknowledge what caregiving is and appreciate it in our culture. And what I did for myself was make this movie to talk about it, because everybody was hiding behind it. And that's why I felt like Charlie looked great, everything seems fine. It's not fine. But if we don't start acknowledging that, and that's why I'm saying acknowledging the role of what it takes in our culture, because our culture is not enough about care. Like, of course, we're expected, it's our husband, it's our mother, it's our father, but it's beyond that. Our society needs to give more to it. There's this Credit for Caring Act in Washington, D.C. that Meg can maybe speak to even more than me, that I'm advocating for, which is a very small thing. It's a $5,000 tax deduction towards caregiving. But that's a beginning in my mind, because we have child care tax credits. We all live in a world where baby boomers are, like, there's more of us. Vermont is one of the per capita oldest states. I mean, we need to have care. We need to care for each other. We need to build a society of care.
Wow.
Sorry.
Yes. I'm going to let Meg have the last word, just talking about their policy work on that effort, because I'm sure so many of us in this room, I have been a caregiver in my past. Many of you are nodding your head. So I think we'll just keep that the last question. And Meg, why don't you talk about what Heidi just brought up?
Yeah, thank you so much. I know it's not about statistics, but just to ground folks, we have 20,000 unpaid dementia caregivers in Vermont. They contribute over $790 million. Their time is worth more than $790 million, what they're giving to us. So just, again, to wrap in your head, like, without the caregivers, we as a society, as a country, as a world, we can't do this work. We cannot do it without the caregivers. So yes, we need to support caregivers. There's work that's done on the national level. We're doing work here on the state level. We did have a unpaid caregiver tax credit that we tried to advance last year. We were not quite successful in getting it through, but every year we try to advance legislation. This year we're working to double the dementia respite grant, which is the only funding that we have in Vermont that goes to, not to giving full-time funding, but to help provide those opportunities for respite. So a caregiver could go take care of themselves or go to a high school graduation or whatever is needed. So we do a lot, and I will just say, like, movies like this, voices, we need stories. More than anything else, we don't need a lot of your time, but we welcome you when we're at the State House. But we are running a story collection campaign right now. There's papers outside the front door. We'll have folks handing them out, and my email is on it. And if you are a caregiver or know someone who's a caregiver and would like to give us a short statement, we're trying to collect 200 statements from around the state. So when we meet with legislators, we can put these faces on it. We can take it away from being a number and have it be, this is what I did for my loved one. This is what I'm sacrificing for my loved one, and I need help. And so I thank all of you for being involved and for being here. Spread the word about this amazing, amazing movie, and help us recognize caregivers and destigmatize both the disease and the caregiving for this disease and for all diseases and all experiences, including childhood, that require caregiving, because just as a society, we don't recognize it, and it is really causing negative impacts on the caregiver. So I see you, I thank you. Anyone here who's a caregiver, I see you and I thank you and I invite you to join with us in trying to really build Vermont as a dementia-friendly, dementia-capable state for people who can grow old here.
And for our movie, if you sign on to our website at walkwithmedoc.com, I'm hoping that it'll get online later in the year. We have a theatrical release starting in Los Angeles. Charlie and I are going back for that. It's qualified for Academy Awards. So it's all gonna build something, and the idea is that we want to get it out to more people. And so it will hopefully find the right home online. And thank you from an independent filmmaker for showing up in the theater. The audience completes this work, and it's really great. So if you want to see this film in your community, we will do community screenings. We want to get it out there.
All right, well, we'll end that. Heidi,
Thank you.
lovely to meet you, Charlie. Deb, Keck.
Thank you. So nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you.
Congrats on the wonderful movie.
Oh, really, yeah.